Hello guys, welcome to our new video on protocol writing. I am Dr. Shyam Kalyan from the ENT Residency app, and this video will be nested inside the Clinical Slayer course. So let's talk more about protocol writing or thesis plan writing. So agenda, what is a protocol? Why is it needed? What purpose does it serve? Contents of a well-written protocol: the Institutional Research Committee or the Scientific Research Committee, the Institutional Ethics Committee, the University Protocol Writing Guidelines, submission to the university, support from Team ENT Residency, and the complete residency pack 3 years. Now, what is a protocol? The protocol for a research proposal or a thesis is a study plan designed to describe the background, research question, aim and objectives, design, statistical consideration, and the detailed methodology of the study. It is the operating manual to refer to while conducting a particular study. It is an outline or plan of the study. In a summary, the protocol includes everything that the study is about, like the aim, objectives, the background, the research question, the design, the statistical methods that we are going to use, and the detailed methodology. So why is a protocol needed? What purpose does it serve? The development of the thesis protocol will help the student understand the ongoing activities in the proposed area of research. See, it's very important that you understand. See, suppose you choose a topic and you're going to start your thesis on it, your study on it. You need to understand what already has been done in it, what more you're trying to prove, what new you're trying to prove. So all these things are going to be written in your protocol. So the development of the thesis protocol will help the student understand the ongoing activities in the proposed area of research. The protocol helps create practical exposure to research before the student actually starts the research or thesis. It acts as a clear plan or outline which has to be followed throughout the research activity. In times of confusion or obscure results, one refers to the protocol to go back and find out clearly where it went lacking or which objectives were not being attained. The protocol is evaluated by the scientific and ethics committees of the institution before being finally submitted to the university or the National Board of Examinations. So, what are the contents of a well-written protocol? A well-written protocol will have contents under these following subheadings. There will be a title, a synopsis or an abstract which is usually structured, introduction, review of literature, aim and objectives, material and methods, and references. In addition to these, we also add a lot of annexures in which you have the student pro forma, the approval letters from the scientific committee and the ethics committee, informed consent forms, and the patient information sheet. We shall go in detail about each of these things in our presentation now. So title, it should indicate the contents of the study as precisely and briefly as possible. Abstract terms and abbreviations are avoided. The title is written in full capitals or the first letter of each word is in capitals except conjunctions. The scientific names of organisms are written in italics. The first letter of the genus should be in capitals. So this is how Escherichia coli is being written in your title. An example of a title: a comparison of surgical outcomes of carbon dioxide laser versus conventional cold instrument excision of benign vocal cord lesions, a prospective experimental comparative study. So if you see this title, see all the first letters of each word except conjunctions are in capitals. It tells you exactly what the study is about: a comparison of surgical outcomes of CO2 laser versus conventional cold instrument excision of what? Benign vocal cord lesions. And what sort of a study is it? It is a prospective, it is an experimental, and it is a comparative. Sometimes they also add a hospital-based or an institutional-based or a tertiary hospital-based study. What is a structured abstract? A structured abstract is an abstract with distinct labeled sections like introduction, methods, results, discussion for rapid comprehension. Structured abstracts have several advantages for authors and readers. They assist in selecting clinically relevant and methodologically valid journal articles. Structured abstracts guide authors in summarizing the content of their manuscripts precisely. They facilitate the peer review process for manuscripts submitted for publication and enhance computerized literature searching. Structured abstracts perform better than unstructured abstracts for the discovery of corresponding MESH medical subject headings, terms using the medical text indexer software application. So in your protocol, please include a structured abstract because they really improve the quality of your protocol, and it is very easy for scientists to select things out of a structured abstract. Introduction. It should state the purpose of the study. It should describe briefly the disease or the problem under consideration. You should write about the research question and its significance. You should talk about the lacunae in the literature about this particular problem. You should enunciate the hypothesis, if any, and you should mention how the study proposes to address the question and also justify the need for the study. So basically, it's a simple thing. In the protocol, you would state the purpose of the study. You would briefly tell what the disease is about and what you're going to do with the disease. You ask the research question and its significance. You describe what is already known and about the lacunae in literature. You put your hypothesis and you say how your study is going to address this question. And of course, you justify the need for the study, how it's going to improve the scientific community or the patients in general or your clinical practice. Review of literature. It should be relevant, complete, and up to date. You should summarize the information about the level of the problem under consideration. You discuss the related pathology or pathophysiology. Do not include the textbook material because these are very understandable facts. Review the available studies on the subject or intervention related to the research question. Provide the summary table of relevant studies wherever necessary. Write the summary of the review, what is already known about the subject. Identify relevant gaps in knowledge. Write a paragraph on the basis for the study. That should be the concluding section of the review of literature. Now the thing is, in certain universities, in review of literature, they ask you to write a lot about anatomy, physiology, and the basic sciences of the particular topic. Now see, this is something you need to follow what your university and what the set traditions are in your university. You can't just say that in NBE it is in a different way, so I'm going to do that way. So this has to be based on what your university says. So you should go through the university protocol writing guidelines and also a few years of your seniors' theses, because only then you would know what is the tradition there and you have to follow it accordingly. So some universities stipulate that, say, suppose you're doing something on CO2 laser and benign vocal cord lesions, they would want you to start with the anatomy, physiology of larynx and even embryology. Whereas in certain universities, they don't want you to say these things. They just want you to discuss benign vocal cord lesions, what are the treatment conditions, and how CO2 laser is going to, change these things. In addition to cold steel instruments, in relation to cold steel instruments. And then you describe about the actual studies which have been done in this field. And then you identify relevant gaps in knowledge, the lacunae, and then you see and write the basis for the study, why you are doing the study. That should be the concluding section of the review of literature. Now, aim and objectives are not the same things. An aim is consistent with a statement of general intent. By contrast, an objective states the requirements in precise terms. Aims refer to what is to be achieved by the present study or how the study would address a bigger question or issue. Objectives refer to what would you actually do in the present study. The primary objective refers to the main research question, the primary outcome, and it is the base for sample size. The secondary objective refers to the additional questions that are typically for the generation of the hypothesis. So this is an example of aim and objectives. Aim, to assess the role of magnetic resonance imaging in sudden sensorineural hearing loss. So this is actually a very abstract thing. It's a statement of general intent. Now when you come to the objectives, to report the findings of MRI in sudden SNHL, to compare MRI and ABR in detecting retrocochlear pathology. So these are more specific and objective in their nature. So in the objectives, you actually refer to what would you actually do in the present study. It states the requirements in precise terms. Now, when you go to material and methods, so in this, when, from what time to what time, and where the study would be carried out, what is the type of the study, whether it is prospective, retrospective, comparative, case control, whether it is descriptive or analytical, if it's analytical, whether it's observational, cohort, case control, or cross-sectional, or interventional, RCT, or crossover. What is the targeted population? Define the subjects of the study. How would be the subjects chosen? Age, group, and sex. And if you're choosing subjects of a particular sex, and why are you being specific? And generally in ENT, we are not going to choose any subjects of a particular sex. So I think we can ignore this part. But yes, you need to mention. Any control group? If yes, then define the control group. Sample size. How do you calculate the sample size? There are these formulas to calculate sample size, which your statistician would help. And that is the basis of the number of cases. To calculate the sample size, generally you need a prevalence, you need a confidence interval, the margin of error, and you need a parent article for the calculation of sample size. So there are methods in which you can calculate the sample size without a parent article that we can discuss later. Place where the subjects would be recruited from. The inclusion criteria define ages, the criteria for defining the disease, condition, or normalcy. The exclusion criteria, subjects who otherwise were eligible for inclusion but are excluded because of the probability of introducing bias. What is the method of randomization? How was it done? How the allocation, cover-up, or blinding were performed? Materials. In the materials section, you give a list of all chemicals, reagents, and other materials or even instruments used in the study along with their source, name of the company, city, and country. Reagents received as gratis should also be mentioned in this section. The description of your study should be such that by following your description, the reader may be able to perform the experiment. The name, the make, model number, and source of instruments should be mentioned wherever they first appear in the methodology. A brief account of statistical methods used for the analysis of results may also be mentioned in this section. The statement of limitations and ethical issues, if any, should be mentioned. Now, statistical analysis. One should mention the procedure of data entry, statistical methods or software for the statistical analysis, methods for handling the missing data. One should mention the procedure for data entry, statistical methods or software for the statistical analysis, methods for handling the missing data, etc. The level of significance or the level of confidence should also be defined. A p-value less than 0.05 was considered statistically significant. For the choice of this cutoff point, one must discuss it with a statistician. Ethical consideration and informed consent. When reporting experiments on human subjects, it should be shown whether the procedures followed were in agreement with the ethical standards on human experimentation, as per the guidelines decided by the Central Ethical Committee of the ICMR. Contents of a well-written protocol will also contain references. They are to be based on the Vancouver style. The new name for that is the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, ICMJE style. This Vancouver style of referencing is separately covered in Slayer. Annexures to be attached in the protocol. So now you've done the protocol, but you need to attach the annexure. Say you're having a questionnaire, you're having some special tests that you're going to conduct or some sort of a responses grading. So all these things will be included in the study along with the study pro forma, approval letters from the scientific committee and the ethics committee, informed consent forms in English as well as the local language, patient information sheet in English as well as the local language. Sometimes you might have to put in English, Hindi as well as the regional language there. Now we broadly told you what all contents are there in a well-written protocol, but different universities have different stipulations regarding how many characters or words should be there in the different subheadings. So as per the National Board of Examinations, which oversees the DNB education in the country, the title should have 120 characters including spacing. The synopsis, which is structured, should have a maximum of 250 to 300 words. The introduction should be around 300 to 500 words. The review of literature around 800 to 1000 words. The aim and objectives up to about 200 words. Materials and methods around 1200 to 1600 words. Mind it is actually your materials and methods which are going to be really descriptive and proper in the protocol. All your introduction and review of literature are just going to be specific items. You need to explain very clearly the material and methods, and many times the national board or your university will pick out problems in the material and methods and come back after you. And references should be 10 to 25 in number as per the Vancouver style. Now these are the NBE stipulations. These may be different for different universities. This is not a blanket thing that all students have to follow this way. This is only for DNB students, whatever stipulations are there on the screen right now. So you must follow what your university says, and it might be different or specific depending on what the university is. Now, so what is an institutional research committee? An institutional research committee, also known as the Institutional Scientific Committee or the Scientific Research Committee, it mentors and reviews research projects in the hospital. So the first thing that you do is, once you make a rough protocol, you go to your guide, and the guide says that this is the date for the institutional committee, research committee meet, scientific committee meet, and you are asked to present your protocol in front of them. The SRC or the IRC approves the thesis protocols of students and researchers of that particular hospital. It comprises head of the institute, who is the chairman of the committee, a statistician, a local teaching faculty from other institutions, basic sciences faculty, guide and co-guides of the concerned student. They become the ex officio members in the institutional research committee. Now you have an institutional ethics committee as well. So this reviews the ethical aspects of all research proposals in the institution. It ensures safety and welfare of all concerned in an objective way. All concerned here includes the researchers, their guides, as well as the subjects. It is formed as per Biomedical Research Guidelines of ICMR. It is registered with the Drug Controller General of India, DCGI. If the institution doesn't have an IEC, Institutional Ethics Committee, registered with the DCGI, then it can avail of the services of a nearby institution with a DCGI registered IEC, but just that it has to sign a memorandum of understanding with that particular institution for this purpose. Now, how is the Institutional Ethics Committee composed? It includes a chairman, a member secretary, and others who are a mixture of medical and non-medical, scientific and non-scientific persons, and lay persons to represent the differed points of view. Now let's see that in more detail. It's composed of a chairman. He should be from outside the institution to maintain the independence of the committee. Now in the Scientific Research Committee, we saw that the chairman is the head of the institute, whereas here the chairman is from outside the institution so that he can maintain the independence of the committee. There should be 1 to 2 persons from the basic medical sciences area, 1 to 2 clinicians from various institutes, 1 legal expert or a retired judge, 1 social scientist or representative of a non-governmental voluntary agency, 1 philosopher or ethicist or theologian, 1 layperson from the community, and 1 member secretary. And this member secretary will be from the same institution, and he will conduct the business of the committee. Now, what are the university protocol writing guidelines? Now, I told you every university, including the national board, comes out with its own protocol writing guidelines. Now, I have discussed about the stipulations by NBE, but this will be different for different universities. You have plenty of universities in India these days. You have government universities as well as various deemed universities. So before you actually start writing the protocol, please understand the guidelines of your university. Don't go by what your seniors or somebody says. Please stick to the guidelines that your university tells you. It will be there in their website. These may be slightly different for each university. The student has to read the guidelines properly and adhere to the time frame of submission. The NBE guidelines and stipulations have been explained as an example. A well-written protocol has some features, and the same have been explained earlier. So next we talk about submission to the university. This is the last step. The protocol has to be cleared by the Institutional Research Committee or the Scientific Committee and the Institutional Ethics Committee before submission. The sooner you submit the protocol, the longer the time you get to perform the study and collect data. The National Board stipulates that the submission should be done before 3 months after the joining of the institution. After joining the institution for DNB, sorry. So 3 months is the time after joining that National Board tells you, but probably in MS it will be a little bit more, maybe 6 to 7 months. But please adhere to the dates, because only after that you can start the study formally and start collecting data, and you need a lot of time for data collection. So support from Team ENT Residency. Now I'll tell you what ENT Residency can help you with in this protocol writing or thesis writing. So we have an exclusive medical writing team that comprises 4 consultants in ENT, and they have a minimum of 4 years experience after DNB or MS, and they have many publications to their credit in various renowned journals. We also have 2 statisticians who have a rich experience in medical statistics and biomedical research. And now the main point is we do only ENT related medical writing work. We do not take up any other department work. So we can offer support in making protocol, writing your thesis or dissertation entirely, making PowerPoint presentations for regular college or institutional level seminars, making journal club presentations, making papers for publishing in conferences, so speaking in conferences or to publish in various journals. This could be articles, case series, case reports. We can even help you make posters for presenting in conferences. So whether it is protocols, thesis or dissertation, PowerPoint presentations, journal club presentations, paper presentations for publishing or for conferences, posters for conferences, whether it is articles, original article, case series, case reports, we can help you with anything for additional charges. So you can contact the author, Dr. Mehak, in the app, or you can text me or send an email to me. I'll be sharing you our email addresses at the end of the video. So once you can contact us, tell us what exactly you need, and we will get back to you. And mind it, our team only does ENT related work, and we've been doing this for quite some time, and all our consultants are exclusively involved in this thing, and they have a lot of experience post their MS or DNB, and they have a good number of journals to their credit. And this will be absolutely plagiarism free, and we have a very high acceptance rate in DNB as well. Now the complete residency pack 3 years. So this is an all-inclusive course for those who have just joined their ENT residency program, like they are in the first few months or the first 6 months of their ENT residency, MS or DNB. So this particular course includes your Mastery 3 years course, Slayer 3 years course. We also write your protocol, and we also write your thesis or dissertation. This is valid for 3 years from the date of joining. This is like for those who would like our support throughout their 3-year residency period. So this is an exciting course. Our best-selling courses, which are the Mastery and Slayer courses, are already included in this. In addition to it, you will be paying us for the protocol writing and thesis writing. And if you don't want to go for the the complete residency pack 3 years, you can always get the Mastery and Slayer courses separately, and you can contact us separately for protocol or medical writing or thesis writing or any form of support that you want, which can be charged separately. So your team consists of Dr. Sham, that's me. My email ID is sham.kalyan@worldentcare.com. And you also have Dr. Mehak, who makes most of the videos. mehak.agarwal@worldentcare.com. So any communication you want to send to us, you can please direct it at this email ID. All right. So I hope you've understood how to do your protocol in a quick way. And it is very necessary that you adhere to the stipulations and conditions set by the university and send your protocol in the right time, because only after you send the protocol would you have enough time to do your study and collect data. Thank you.